So, leading on from my previous video, go back to it and watch it if you haven't seen it. I'm talking about when you start to see the voices in your head, the voices that you're thinking, the voices that you think create a story out of, you listen to. And when you start to see them and shine a light on them, you realize perhaps your judgments are not true, and yet you're the ones thinking those judgments. You're the one caught up in that story. So when you start to watch that or be aware of that or simply see it, you now have a choice to change what you're thinking about. And that's what meditation is. Usually there's a technique or a tool that meditation will give, and that's helping you change your attention from those thoughts and seeing things differently, which is incredible because that's where the game really starts. It's like you have been given a new life because there's this life that's been filtered through all the thoughts and the craziness and, really believe that everything's wrong, you're wrong, everything's wrong, that's the mind. And then when you start to watch that, it's like, well, actually, I don't need to think that. I have a choice. I can actually be present and experience what's here now rather than what's going on in my head. And when you start to really see that, it's amazing because you realize just how controlling the mind has been and is for a lot of people, and that it's not necessary. And I love that. It's not necessary to think. It's not necessary to believe those voices. When you can see that difference and that gap between it, or that choice from thinking or from or not thinking, you can start to become freed from thinking. Thinking is pretty much automatic for everybody, except the people who meditate. And when you see that you don't have to think, that there's actually a space and you can actually create more awareness in that space, you start to realize just how important that is and freeing that is and vital that is. Because this is now what life is all about. And seeing the same things, the same situations, but from not thinking, not being consumed in judgment or assumptions, and then suddenly you're present to it. And when you're present to it, you can see it completely different. You can listen. You can understand people's different points of views. You're opening up to a different picture or understanding of everything. Life completely changes. Everything completely changes because you are changing where you're putting your attention. You're not consumed by these thoughts. So those thoughts are no longer the filter that you're seeing your world through. It's so fascinating. It is an incredible journey of dropping the addiction of thinking, realizing you have a choice, and then making it, doing it, Nike, just do it, and then starting to live in this difference where when you're not led by those stupid thoughts, that silly commentary. Amazing.